Alright, sa video ito pag-uusapan naman natin ang spread footing. So ano nga ba ang spread footing? Spread footing is also known as isolated footing. It is a shallow foundation that supports columns or walls by spreading structural loads across a larger area of soil. It is one of the most common, simplest, and economical type of footings in construction. So meron tayo ditong tatlong klase ng spread footing. So yung una ay yung pad footing. It is a simple, flat slab of concrete that supports a single column, commonly used in residential and light commercial construction. So ito yung typical lang no, na yung square shape or minsan rectangular na shape. Okay, so madalas nakikita daw ito sa mga residential and commercial construction. And then of course, it only supports a single column. Dahil kung dalawang column na yung kanyang sinusuportahan, ang tawag na natin doon ay combined footing. Next naman ay itong slope footing, used for heavier loads or larger columns. Also, it is used when the column is adjacent to the property line. Right? So kung naisipan mong magpatayo ng bahay tapos ang iyong poste ay sagad na sa ating property line o balak mong magkaroon ng firewall, okay, ang kailangan mong gamitin daw na type ng spread footing para doon ay dapat sloping. Okay? So yung slope na part na yon ay magdadagdag kasi ng additional stiffness para sa ating column. Okay? And then the last type of spread footing is the step footing. This footing is constructed in steps to accommodate the changes in elevation or soil condition. Provides additional stability in uneven terrain. So ito naman po ay para sa mga sloping na lupa. Magandang gamitin daw dito ay mga step footing. Okay, so ito yung tsura ng tatlong yon. Meron tayo ditong pad footing, yung simple lang na square shape or rectangular shape. Ito naman yung ating slope footing. Kung mapapansin natin, meron talaga ditong sloping na part. And kung mapapansin natin, yung ating poste ay nakasagad dito sa ating edge, no, ng ating foundation. Okay, so itong sloping na part na to ay nagpro-provide ng additional stiffness, humahawak para sa ating column. Then yung step footing naman natin ay ito lang, no, meron siyang hagdan. Okay? Right, next naman na parameter na kailangan nating i-define ay yung allowable soil pressure or the Q sub A. Okay, so ang allowable soil pressure, also known as the safe bedding capacity, is the maximum pressure a soil can withstand without exceeding acceptable settlement or causing shear failure below a foundation. Okay, so when we say allowable soil pressure, ito daw yung allowed lang or maximum. Okay, hindi na tayo pwedeng lumagpas pa beyond the value of Q sub A. Bakit? Kasi, for example, magpapatayo na tayo ng structure, okay, possible na masira yung ating lupa kapag lumagpas pa tayo dito sa value na ito. Okay, kaya naman kapag gusto nating magpatayo ng ating mga structure, kailangan muna ng soil testing para malaman natin kung aayon ba yung lupa natin sa ipapatayo nating structure. Okay, the question is, kailan nga ba tayo dapat mag-soil testing? Okay? From NSCP 2015 First Printing, Section 303.1, ang sabi dito, for structures 2-story or higher, an exhaustive geotechnical study shall be performed to evaluate in situ soil parameters for foundation design and analysis. Okay? So nire-require tayo ng NSCP kapag 2-story na or higher yung ipapatayo natin na structure, residential man yan or commercial, kailangan na daw natin magkaroon or mag-conduct ng soil testing. However, hindi ito nasusunod sa Pilipinas, no? Sa Pilipinas, 3-story or higher yung nire-require. Okay? So according kay Google din, no? In the Philippines, soil testing including soil boring is typically required for buildings that are 3 stories or higher. Alright? So, hindi ko lang sure kung sa NSCP 2015 second printing is na-edit na ito. Okay? Na part. Kung 3-story nga ba ito or 2-story pa lang. Okay, again, NSCP 2015 first printing yung copy na meron ako. Paki-double check na lang din sa NSCP 2015 second printing kung yung 2-story ba na ito ay nag-update na into 3-story. Okay, now kung gusto mo magpatayo ng iyong structure pero hindi mo ginawa yung soil testing, meron naman ditong pre-provide sa NSCP natin. Okay? In the absence of soil investigation, the Building Code of the Philippines provides certain approximate allowable bearing pressure that can be used for the type of soil and soil condition. Okay? So, nasa section or table 304-1 ng NSCP 2015 first printing yung part na to. Okay? So, ang kailangan mo lang gawin is i-classify na lang kung anong klaseng lupa yung meron ka dun sa site. Okay? Para malaman mo dito yung allowable soil pressure natin. Okay? Or yung bearing capacity natin. Okay? Provided na rin by NSCP natin. So, ito yung allowable soil pressure natin or Q sub A. Imagine, meron tayo ditong foundation. Tapos, meron tayo ditong natural grade line, of course. Alright? So, saan ba dito yung QA, no? So, yung QA na to is nandito sa may lupa natin mismo yan. Okay? Paano natin malalaman yung QA or the allowable soil bearing? It is through experiment or the testing. Okay? So, from formula, okay? Q sub A is equal to Q sub E plus Q sub S plus Q sub C plus Q sub SU. Okay? So, sabi natin, no, by definition ulit, ang allowable ay yung maximum or hanggang dun na lang tayo. Okay? Kaya naman po, kung mapapansin natin sa formula natin, dapat yung allowable ay equal to these parameters. Okay? So, hindi sila pwedeng lumagpas sa allowable. Dapat equal lahat ng mga to dito sa ating allowable soil pressure. Okay? So, ano tong mga QE, QS, QC, and QSU? Okay, so for QE, ito yung effective or the net soil bearing pressure natin. QS is the overburden soil pressure. QC is the overburden concrete pressure. And the QSU is the surcharge pressure. Okay, so saan to sa ating figure? Okay, so yung effective natin or the net soil bearing pressure, ito yung nag-a-act na mismo effectively dito sa ating ilalim ng ating pundasyon. Okay, then for the Q sub S or Q sub S naman, tama, is ito namang overburden soil. Okay, ito yung itaas. Okay, yung lupa dun sa itaas ng ating pundasyon. Okay, dahil ang lupang ito ay nakakadagdag ng bigat dito sa ating ilalim ng pundasyon. Okay, kaya naman kailangan natin siyang isali sa ating formula. Okay, nakakadagdag siya ng pressure. And then similarly, pati yung concrete natin mismo. Itong concrete pad na to. Okay, kung mapapansin natin, this part right here, itong column natin dito, okay, yung pedestal natin dito, negligible na siya. Okay, ang kino-consider lang natin na part ay itong concrete pad. Okay, itong footing pad natin. Okay, and then next for the surcharge pressure, ito naman yung applied na load dito sa itaas or sa ibabaw ng ating natural na lupa. Okay, dun sa NGL natin, the Q sub SU. Alright, so again, allowable is equal to the effective, the soil bearing or the overburden soil, overburden concrete, and the surcharge pressure. Okay, so ano dito yung kino-compute natin, by the way, no? Ang kino-compute lang natin dito is yung effective net pressure dahil ito ay magbibigay sa atin ano yung magiging dimension ng ating magiging foundation. Okay, so for the sizing of the footing, serviceability limits yung gagamitin natin dito na method. Okay, so from NSCP section 413.3.1.1, the minimum base area of the foundation shall be calculated from the unfactored forces and moments transmitted by foundation to soil or rock and permissible bearing pressure selected through the principles of soil or rock mechanics. Okay? So, sabi dito, yung magiging area, minimum base area natin ay through the use of the unfactored forces. Again, itong unfactored forces na to, ang ibig sabihin niyan ay mga service loads. Kaya, tinawag natin ito na serviceability limits lang. Okay, so the area, okay, the minimum base area is equal to the unfactored forces or the unfactored load divided by the effective soil pressure. Again, dun sa formula natin kanina, yung QE na yon, yung gagamitin natin para malaman or ma-determine natin ano yung magiging base area natin. Okay, recall natin that pressure is equal to force over area. Alright, so ano yung force natin dito ay yung unfactored load. Okay? Kaya naman po, yung area dito, nilagay na natin dito, area footing. Then yung pressure dito ay yung effective soil pressure. So dito siya na-derive, no? Okay, again, service equals to the unfactored loads. Alright, so finally, yung area ng footing natin ay equal to the service loads, dead load plus live load. Okay, example, and then divide this by the effective soil or the QE. Okay, yung formula natin na ito ay only applicable for actual loads only. Okay, later on, kapag meron naman na tayong moments, mag-iiba na yung formula natin. Hindi na to yung formula na gagamitin natin. Okay, again, for actual loads lang to or mga forces lang. Now, for the rule of thumb for the thickness of the footing, common practice by the engineers in the Philippines, we use the formula, the thickness is equal to the 20% of the width plus 75 mm. Of course, the W here is the width of the footing. Okay, next. Okay. Kailangan din nating malaman nasaan dito yung mga critical location for the moment. Okay? So, from NSCP section or table 413.2.7.1, ito yung mga location ng MU natin or the maximum moments. Okay? So, ano bang purpose na itong maximum or ultimate moment natin? Okay? Gagamitin natin ito to determine the required number of rebars para sa ating pundasyon. Okay? So, meron tayo dito ang 4 na klase. Okay? The first one is column or pedestal. Alright? So, yung location daw ng MU natin or the ultimate moment is at the face of the column or the pedestal. Okay? So, meaning to say, for example, meron tayo ditong column. Ito yung elevation view and then this is the top view. Okay? Nasaan yung MU? Sabi dito, nasa face of the column or the pedestal. Alright? So, for example, ito yung face ng column natin. Nandito yung ating MU. Okay? Or dito sa top view, dahil meron tayong 4 na faces dito, kahit saan dyan yung MU natin. Okay? Pwedeng dito, sa left, or pwede sa right. Pwede rin naman dito sa top, pwede rin sa bottom. Okay? Kung sino na yung magbibigay sa'yo ng pinakamalaking value ng MU, siya na yung critical sa 4. Alright? Next naman, what if meron tayong base plate daw? Okay? So sabi dito, halfway between the face of the column and edge of the steel base plate. Okay? So ito yung face of the column and then yung edge ng steel base plate natin ay nandito sa dulo. Face and then edge of the base plate. So sabi dito, halfway daw. So gitna nung face and nung edge. Or simply, kunin natin yung face and edge, hatiin lang natin. Okay? So, yung half nito, doon daw makikita yung MU. And then again, dahil square yung ating footing, alright, square din yung ating base plate. So, meron tayong 4 na location ng MU dito. Pwede ulit dito sa left or right, basta halfway. And then, ganun din sa top and bottom. Okay, halfway. Whichever is the highest MU ulit, yun yung critical MU natin. Then next naman for a concrete wall or masonry wall. Okay, pag-isayin na natin ito kasi parehas naman na wall, no? Depende lang sa type of material, concrete nga ba or masonry. Okay? So for example, palitan na lang natin to, variable itong wall natin. Okay? So it could be a concrete or a masonry. So sabi dito, kapag concrete daw yung wall natin, nasa face of the wall. Alright? So ang MU natin ay nandito sa may face of the wall para sa concrete material. Kapag masonry naman yung ating structure or yung wall natin, kunin muna natin yung kanyang center line dahil sabi dito, halfway between the center of the wall and the face of the masonry. Okay? So, ito yung center natin and then ito yung kanyang face. Alright? So, kalahati dito. Okay? Or halfway na itong dalawa, yung location ng MU for the masonry. Alright? So, ganyan po yung location ng ating MU for the masonry. Halfway. Okay? So, ito yung mga locations natin ng MU. Okay? So, gagamitin natin tong MU na to determine again the number of required rebars sa ating foundation. Okay? Then next, we also have here another thing to remember, yung equivalent dimension na tinatawag. Okay? So, section 413.2.7.3 ng NSCP, circular or regular polygon-shaped concrete columns or pedestal shall be permitted to be treated as a square member of equivalent area when locating the critical sections for moment, shear, and development of reinforcement. Okay? Say for example, meron tayo dito ang pundasyon tapos merong nakapatong na circular column. Okay? Again, nasaan daw dito yung ating critical for MU? So, ang critical for MU, dahil ito ay pedestal, sabihin na lang natin, nasa face of the column daw. Pero nasaan exactly yung face ng column natin? Dahil ito ay circular, madami tong faces, no? Basta tangent siya dito sa circle natin. Okay? So, pwedeng ang MU natin ay nandito sa part na yan, or pwedeng ang MU natin ay dito naman sa part na to. Okay? So, hindi natin alam exactly kung nasaan dito yung critical. So, madami kang itetest dito, which is mahirap gawin yon, no? So, sabi dito, kapag circular daw, i-treat na daw natin siya as a square with its equivalent area. So, i-convert lang natin to essentially. Alright? So, gawin natin siyang square equivalent area of the circle. Alright? Para mas mapabilis. Okay? So, dito mas mabilis na nating malolocate nasa ng MU. Pwedeng nandito sa left, right, top, or bottom. Kasi apat lang na face ang kino-consider natin. Then, similarly, kapag regular polygon, say for example, meron tayo ditong hexagon. Again, yung MU natin dito ay medyo magulo. Slanting. Mahirap to gawin, no? Pwedeng dito sa may part na to, or dito sa may part na to, or better yet, i-convert na lang natin ito ulit sa kanyang equivalent area, okay, na square. Alright? So, ganito lang po ang gagawin natin. Kapag circular or regular polygon, convert it to square para mas mabilis malocate kung nasaan yung critical for MU, shear, and development for reinforcement. Okay? Next, meron tayo ditong tinatawag na one-way or two-way footing. Parang sa slab lang din, no? Pwedeng mag-bend sa isang direction, pwedeng mag-bend in both direction. Okay? So for one-way shallow foundation, the reinforcement shall be distributed uniformly across the entire width for one-way footing. Okay? So for example, meron tayo ditong rectangular na footing. Okay? So, dahil rectangular footing ito, saan ba siya mas magbe-bend? Okay? So, we all know naman na magbe-bend ito sa kanyang longer side. Okay? Therefore, yung ating main bar ay dapat parallel sa ating longer side din. Okay? So, tama naman, no? Yung reinforcement daw shall be distributed uniformly across the entire width of the one-way footing. So, kung ito yung length natin, ito dapat yung width natin. So, yung atin daw reinforcement ay dapat equally spaced, no? Or uniformly distributed across its width. So, tama po dito. Dapat yung cross-section ng ating mga rebars or reinforcement, nakikita natin dito sa side ng width. Okay? So, yun po yung ibig sabihin nito. Or essentially, kung nasaan nagbe-bend, dun mo dapat bakalan. Ganun lang din, no? Then next naman for two-way isolated footing. Okay? So, meron tayo ditong dalawang klase ng two-way isolated footing. Pwedeng square, pwedeng rectangular, no? Okay. So, for square, okay, ang reinforcement daw natin, okay, shall be distributed uniformly across the entire width of the footing in both directions. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, kung meron tayo ditong square na pundasyon, tapos ito daw ay nagbe-bend sa other side, then, or sa Y part, then sa X na part niya, meaning to say, yung reinforcement daw natin ay dapat meron sa X, dapat meron sa Y. And ang sabi dito, distributed uniformly. Okay? So, kung ano ang bakal mo sa Y direction, dapat yun din daw ang number ng bakal mo sa X direction. Okay? Equal yan. Kahit saan na dito yung top bar mo or bottom bar, it doesn't matter dahil square naman ito. Okay? So, yun yung sinasabi dito sa ating section 413.3.3.2 ng NSCP. Okay? Meron din tayo ditong rectangular na two-way footing. And kapag rectangular yung two-way footing natin, we need to satisfy A and B. Okay? So, ano yung A and B daw dito? Alright? So, yung A natin dito, okay, the reinforcement in the long direction shall be distributed uniformly across the entire width of the footing. So parang yung sa one-way kanina. Meron kang rectangular footing ulit, merong width dito, yung ating main bar daw ay dapat ayan, parallel sa longer side or uniformly distributed across the entire width. So ito yung sinasabi ng ating A. Okay? Next, ito na yung ating main bar, no? Yung nandito parallel sa ating length. This is our main bar or this is what we call the bottom bar as well. Okay? For the B naman, okay? Ito naman yung reinforcement natin. Okay? Top bar naman ang tawag natin dito sa B. Okay? Ito naman yung nakapatong dito sa ating na main bar. Alright? So, parallel naman itong B natin dito sa ating width. Alright? So, for the reinforcement in the short direction, a portion of the total reinforcement gamma SAS shall be distributed uniformly over a band width equal to the length of the short side of the footing, centered on the center line of the column or pedestal. Alright? So, ano yung sinasabi dito? And then, by the way, ito muna. Remainder of the reinforcement required in the short direction, 1 minus gamma S, AS, shall be distributed uniformly with the footing where gamma S is calculated by. Alright, so merong gamma S dito na parameter. I-define muna natin kung ano nga ba ito. And by the way, ang gamma S dito is not the gamma soil. Okay, gamma S is just a variable na ginamit para dito. Okay, and ang gamma S daw ay equal to 2 divided by beta plus 1. Alright? So, ano ang beta naman? Where beta is the ratio of the long to short side of the footing. Okay? So, this is simply the length divided by the width of the footing. That is beta. Okay? Kung mapapansin daw natin dito, okay, dahil ito ay longer rectangular na, no? Kanina sa square, kung ano ang distribution ng bars mo sa baba, ganun lang din sa itaas kasi square siya. Pag rectangular na daw, kukuha daw tayo dito ng portion na W, okay? Band width equal to the length of the short side of the footing. Ang ibig sabihin nito, say for example, ito yung ating foundation, okay? Magsukat daw tayo dito. Ito yung tatawagin natin na center band. Ang width nito ay equal to the short side W. Okay? Itong width lang din na to. Ito yung magiging value natin dito. Value natin dito. Okay? Paano sukatin itong center band? Sabi dito, it must be measured centered on the center line of the column or pedestal. Alright? So, kung W ito, magsukat ka daw sa sentro ng column natin, W over 2 pa left, at W over 2 pa right. Okay? Dapat gitna nila yung pedestal natin or yung ating column. Alright? So, yun daw yung ibig sabihin nitong center band W. Okay? So, ano ulit yung reinforcement daw natin dito? Sabi dito, yung reinforcement na gagamitin natin para sa center band ay equal to gamma S AS. Ano yung AS dito? Yung AS dito is the area of the steel reinforcement na nakikita natin across the width. Or ito yung bottom bar natin, yung AS dito. Again, this is the area of the bottom bar or the main bar rather. Okay, so ito yung navy blue na kulay. Okay, so sabi dito, yang i-distribute mo daw na bakal dito, ang kanyang value dapat ay equal to gamma S AS. Now, kung papansinin natin yung formula ng gamma S, ang gamma S ay 2 divided by beta plus 1. Okay? Where beta is L divided by width. Now, ang length divided by width is always greater than 1. Okay? So, kung gagamitin natin yung gamma S, 2 divided by greater than 1 plus 1 yung magiging denominator natin. Greater than 1 plus 1 is always greater than 2. So, ibig sabihin nito, 2 divided by greater than 2 is always less than 1. Okay? Ang gamma S natin dito ay laging less than 1. It will never be equal to 1. No? Pwede namang equal pero, well, square na yon, no? Hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin dito. Okay? So, ang gamma S ay laging less than 1 dapat. Okay? So, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, kung less than 1 daw ito lagi, parang porsyento lang siya dapat nung main bar natin. Yun ang sinasabi dito. So, yung gamma center yung area center natin is now gamma S AS. Again, yung AS dito ay yung area ng main bar natin, yung nandito sa bottom bar. Okay? Then next, meron din tayo ditong the remainder of the reinforcement required in the short 1 minus gamma SAS shall be distributed uniformly outside the center bandwidth. Okay? So, kung meron kang center band, meron din tayong outer band. Okay? Essentially, yung nasa labas lang nung center band. Tawagin natin yun na outer band naman. Okay? Ang sinasabi dito, ang formula niya ay 1 minus gamma S AS. So, ang ibig sabihin nitong 1 minus gamma S, kung ano yung sobra dito sa AS natin kanina, okay, AS minus AS center, yun yung mapupunta daw doon sa outer. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng 1 minus gamma S dito. Okay? Or in formula, alright? Or ito yung reinforcement natin rather. Okay? Oh, by the way din, no, sabi dito, it must be distributed uniformly outside the center band. Okay? So, kung ang makuha natin na area ng bakal, dinivide natin sa size ng isang diameter ng main bar or rebar, okay? Kapag ang nakuha natin na value ay odd, hindi pwede yon. So, dapat kung meron kang dalawang bakal sa left outer band, dapat meron ka ring dalawa sa right outer band. Okay? Kung ang nakuha nating value ay, say for example, 2.59, so that is rounded to 3, hindi pwedeng 1.5 dito sa left outer band, tapos 1.5 na bakal sa sa right outer band. So, wala namang ganon. No? So, ang gagawin natin doon is round up. No? Magiging dalawa sa left, magiging dalawa na sa right. Dapat parehas ang bilang. Okay? Yun po yung rule natin sa outer band. Okay? So, yung formula nito ay simply 1 minus gamma S AS. Or, pwede rin gamitin dito na formula ng AS outer is simply area nung main bar, yung AS minus area nung center. Okay? So, kung gagamitin natin yun ng algebra, no? Common yung AS, magiging 1 minus gamma S, AS lang din. Ito lang din yung formula niya. Okay? So, ito yung mga reinforcement natin. Again, recall natin for square, napakadali. Kung ano yung bilang ng bakal mo sa baba, yun na yung bilang ng bakal mo sa taas for square. Kapag rectangular, dapat masatisfy natin itong outer band and center band. Calculate tayo ng gamma S, then makukuha na natin yung center band rebars, then outer band rebars. So, hindi na siya equal dun sa bottom bar, no? So, mag-iiba na po ito. Alright, next na parameter na kailangan nating i-define for two-way footing ay yung mga effective depth natin. So, ano yung mga effective depth natin? Okay? So, for example, ito na yung reinforcement natin na simplified. Meron tayo ditong width and the L. Okay? So, again, yung navy blue or darker blue, that is the longitudinal bar, which is nasa bottom or parallel to the length. And then, yung red naman natin dito ay yung tinatawag natin na temperature bar, the shrinkage bar, the transverse bars, okay, which is laging nasa top, okay, or parallel to the width. Okay? So, again, no, madaming tawag dito sa top bar natin. Temperature, shrinkage, transverse. Then, yung bottom bar naman natin ay main or longitudinal bar. Okay? So, ito yung mga effective depth natin. Okay? So, when we are calculating for the maximum moment or yung MU natin kanina, okay, ang effective depth natin ay measured from the bottom. Alright? So, kunyari, ito yung width natin. Ito yung blue, yung nakikita natin dapat, yung kanyang section, no? Tapos, yung red dito yung nakapatong. So, tama naman po yung figure natin dito. Bottom bar yung blue, then top bar natin ay red. Okay? So, ang effective depth natin kapag ganito sa moment, okay, ay yung nasa center ng bottom bar. Alright? Ang effective depth again ay measured from the top hanggang dun sa center ng bottom bar. Okay? Next naman for wide beam shear. Okay? For wide beam shear, ang effective depth natin ay measured sa center ng top naman. Okay? Again, sa top, center. Yun yung wide beam shear natin, effective depth. And then for the punching naman is the average or gitna nitong top bar and bottom bar or simply yung pinagpatungan nilang dalawa. Okay? Sa NSCP, nakalagay ito sa 422.6.2.1. Sinabi doon na dapat average yung gagamitin natin for punching stress. For wide beam and moment, ito yung ifa-follow natin. Bottom para sa moment, then top naman para sa wide beam shear. Right? Okay, next we have the minimum area of reinforcement. Okay? So pagkatapos mong makalculate yung required number of bars or the required area, AS, kailangan mo siyang i-compare, no? Dapat hindi ka bumaba or mas bumaba pa dito sa minimum area natin. Okay? So, AS min natin for non-pre-stress one-way or two-way slab, okay? From section 407.6.1.1 and 408.6.1.1, parehas lang ito actually, no? So, yung ginamit dito ay slab, pero yung slab ay pwede na rin gamitin para sa footing, no? Magkamukha naman yan eh. Okay? So, ang ating minimum area, dapat daw ng reinforcement natin ay 0.020 gross cross-sectional area, AG, kung ang FY natin ay less than 420 megapascal. Okay? And then, ang AS min naman natin ay either of the two, whichever is greater. AS min is 0.0018 for 20 over FY, gross cross-sectional area, or 0.001 for gross cross-sectional area, AG. Okay? Kapag ka ang FY natin ay greater or equal to 420 megapascal. Okay? So, tignan mo na lang, no, kung ano ba yung grade ng bakal natin. Tapos, doon mo malalaman anong gagamitin mong minimum area. Now, itong minimum area na to, again, i-compare mo doon sa AS na masosolve mo. Okay? So, dapat hindi sila mas mababa sa minimum values natin. Okay? Then, ito yung, although ito yung provide sa atin ng NSCP natin from board exam, okay, iba yung ginagamit natin na formula. Okay? Ang AS min natin ay yung raw min times area ng concrete. Alright? So, ano tong raw min concrete area? Okay? So, meron tayo dito dalawang formula actually. Alright? So, ito yung ginagamit natin. Other than this, okay, ito yung ginagamit na formula. For board exam, ito yung mas ginagamit talaga to sa board exam. So, ang AS min natin, it could be 1.4 over FY BD. Okay, so yung 1.4 over FY dito, yan yung raw min. Then, yung area ng concrete ay yung BD. So, base or the width of the footing times the effective depth. Okay? Or, pwede rin daw naman ang AS min natin na square root F prime C over 4 FY times BD. Again, yung square root F prime C over 4 FY, ito naman yung raw min dito. Now again, choose whichever is greater dito sa dalawa. Okay? Alin man dito sa dalawa, no? So, saan nga ba galing yung formulas na to? Okay? Actually, galing ito sa minimum flexural reinforcement in the non-pre-stress beams. Okay? So, hiniram lang yung formula na to sa beam actually, no? Kaya lang sa beam kasi never pa itong nag-govern, no? Kaya siguro naisipan ginamit na lang ito sa pag-compare dito sa ating slab or the footing. Bakit kaya? Kasi yung values nito ay di hamak na mas malalaki kesa sa mga to. Okay? Yung mga AS min natin na 0.002, 0.018 for 20, and then 0.014 ay mas maliliit ang values nila compared dito sa dalawa. Okay? Kaya siguro mas maganda itong dalawa na lang na to ang gamitin din natin sa actual, no? Kasi mas gusto nating mas malaking area, mas madaming bakal, mas safe. Right? Okay, next. Kung meron tayong minimum area, meron din tayong maximum spacing of reinforcement. Okay? So, yung nakuha na nating bakal, tapos pwede na tayo mag-compute doon ng bilang ng bakal, pwede na natin actually malaman doon yung magiging spacing ng mga bakal natin. And then, of course, kailangan nating i-check, dapat hindi tayo lumagpas sa maximum spacing. Okay? So, itong maximum spacing, limit na natin ito, of course. Okay, so meron tayo ditong one-way and then for two-way. Now, for one-way, ito yung ating maximum spacing. 3 times the thickness of the footing or 450 mm, whichever is lesser. Okay, bakit lesser, no? Okay, so kapag spacing ang usapan, kapag mas maliit or mas dikit-dikit, mas matibay. Okay, kaya lesser kapag spacing. Kapag ka naman area, kung sino yung mas malaki, okay, mas madaming ibibigay na bakal, mas matibay. Alright? So for two-way naman, okay? So for two-way naman, meron tayo ditong dalawa, no? Dahil two-way ito, meron tayong bottom bar and meron tayong top bar. Now for the bottom bar, meron tayong maximum na 2H or 450 mm. Again, whichever is lesser. Then for the top bar naman, we have the 3H or 450. So yung top bar magiging kamukha niya na yung sa may one way. Okay? Whichever is lesser, yun yung mag-govern. So madali lang to i-memorize. 450 lang naman yung iba dito, no? Tapos 3H and 2H. Alright? So yung H again dito is the thickness of the footing. Okay, next we have the shear in the footing. Alright? So there are two primary types of shear in the footing, which is the one-way shear, or also called as the wide beam shear, and the two-way shear, also called as the punching shear. Okay? So kailangan din natin itong i-consider, no, para malaman natin kung adequate ba yung magiging section natin. Itong mga shear na to. So ito yung nagkakaroon ng kiskisan, no, doon sa loob ng ating pundasyon. Okay? And dapat masatisfy natin yung mga to. Okay? Now for the one-way, or also known as the wide beam shear, the critical section at a distance D from the column or face, column face, or from the location of the critical section for MU, okay, yun daw yung magiging location ng one-way shear natin, no? The distance from the face of the column or kung nasaan yung MU natin. Okay, so ito ay pedestal for example. Now, yung MU natin sa pedestal ay again, nandito sa mismong face of the column. Kaya po, yung sukat natin for the one-way or the wide beam ay dapat the distance from the face of the column. Nataon, no, na nandito kasi yung MU natin sa face din. What if meron tayo ditong base plate? Okay, now dahil meron ka ng base plate, ang D distance ay hindi mo pwedeng sukatin sa face of the column ulit. Okay, dapat sukatin mo na siya doon sa location ng MU. Okay, yun yung D distance dito. Para malocate mo kung nasaan yung magiging one-way or the wide beam shear. Okay, so imagine itong footing natin na to ay subject, or yung column ay subject sa PU. Okay, dahil meron ka ng ultimate load dito, or yung factored load, magke-create ito ngayon ng factored na pressure sa ilalim, or ultimate pressure sa ilalim. Okay? Now, yung pressure na yan, tinutulak niya, no, yung na sa pataas itong ating footing. And doon pwedeng masira, okay? Dahil sa shear, okay? Shear stresses, pwedeng masira yung ating pundasyon. Okay? Say for example, yung D distance natin or yung effective depth natin ay measured from the center of the top bar. Again, dahil one-way or wide beam shear ang pinag-uusapan natin, if you remember kanina, ang ating effective depth ay measured from the top of the or measured from the center of the top bar. Yun yung ating effective depth. Now, kung yan yung effective depth natin, sabi natin, para malocate natin yung one-way or wide beam, sukat tayo ng D distance from the face of the column or from where the location of MU is. Okay? So, this one. Okay? So, magsukat tayo dito ng D distance from the face. Okay? On all side na yan. And then, yung distance daw na to, pwede daw masira dahil sa one-way shear. Alright? So, yung part na to ay pwede daw masira because of the one-way shear. Again, ito yung location din ng ating MU, no? So, check natin kung may base plate. Dapat careful tayo. Ilipat natin yung pagsukat ng ating D distance. Okay, so ito yung ating isometric view for the foundation. Say for example, and then ito yung mga D distance na yan, no? D distance from the face of the column. Alright? So, dito magkakaroon, or dito yung critical section natin for one-way. Okay? Ito yung critical section natin. So, either side yan, no? Kahit saan mo siya tignan. Okay? Kung saan man yung mas malaki ang value, edi yun yung critical. And then let's call this one the side B ng ating footing. And then yung naiwan dito na portion ay tawagin nating X distance or X dimension. Okay? So again, saan dito yung magiging critical for shear? Dahil shear is kiskisan, yung section natin ay dapat parallel dito sa ating elevation view. Alright? So dito mangyayari yung ating one-way shear. For example, no? Ito yung critical natin. So can you imagine this one, no? Yan, so dito po mangyayari yung ating kiskisan. Right? So dahil dyan sa section na yan, dyan din lalabas yung tinatawag natin na shear for concrete or yung V sub C. Right? So ito yung tinatawag natin na allowable shear concrete. Ayan, no? Shear force of concrete. Meron tong formula na equal to 1/6 lambda square root F prime C BD. Very similar to beam, no? Parang ganito lang din yung formula natin sa beam. Okay, yung B dito is the width of the footing. So, depende kung saan mo siya tinitignan, no? Pwede rin naman sa L, alright? Or kahit saang side. Okay, and then ano yung lambda natin dito? So, yung lambda, yung tinatawag natin na modification factor na according sa table 419.2.4.2 ng NSCP natin, ito yung simplified na value. Kapag all lightweight, 0.75, sand lightweight, 0.85, and then for normal weight is 1.0. Okay? And then, ito yung ating one-way, no? So, ayan, the distance, tapos ito yung critical section natin. So, dahil square naman ito, assume natin yung one side na lang. Pare-parehas naman na yan. Okay, and then ito for example yung naputol na section natin. Okay? So ito yung width B natin, then yung width X natin dito. Okay? So again, sa ilalim meron tayong QU na value. Okay? Ito yung ultimate na pressure natin sa ilalim ng ating pundasyon. So again, dahil dito nagkaroon or nasira sa one-way shear yung ating pundasyon. Okay? So ito yung magiging area natin. So, yung B times X, ito yung subject to pressure na lang, QU. Okay? So, again, dito sa center natin, dyan merong lalabas na VU or the resultant of this QU. No? So, saan mag-a-act yung resultant ng QU? That is from the center of B times X. Dun lalabas or dun magpapakita yung VU natin. Okay? Produced by the QU. Okay, so yung QU natin dito is yung factored soil pressure. Siyempre, ang value nito ay simply the factored load, yung PU natin. So, 1.2 dead plus 1.6 live divided by the area of the footing. Okay? So, yun yung QU natin. And then, meron tayo ditong tinatawag na allowable VU. So, ito, based on the section. So, bakit siya based on the section? Kasi, gagamitin lang natin, no, essentially yung dimensions ng ating footing. Okay? So, say for example, no shear reinforcement required, no, dito sa ating mga pundasyon. Wala, bibihira naman maglagay para sa shear reinforcement, no? So, kapag no shear reinforcement, pwede nating sabihin na yung nominal shear natin ay equal na sa concrete shear. Okay? So, yung VS natin dito ay 0 na. Kaya ito na lang yung magiging equation natin. Now, remember that VU is also equal to phi VN. Okay? Again, ang phi natin for shear ay 0.75. Okay? Now, dahil VN is VC, pwede rin nating sabihin that VU is actually equal to phi VC. Okay? Yung VC na nasolve natin kanina, yung 1/6 lambda square root F prime C BD. Okay? So, ito yung tinatawag natin na allowable VU based on the section. Okay? Allowable, ibig sabihin, hindi ka na pwedeng lumagpas pa dito. Okay. Then also meron tayong actual na VU. Okay? So itong actual naman na VU, ito ay based dun sa load na nangyayari. Okay? So recall natin yung formula natin. Pressure is simply equal to force divided by the area. Okay? So ano yung pressure natin? Yung pressure natin ay yung QU. Yung based on the loads, no? Ultimate VU. Okay? So, pressure natin ay yung QU, yung force natin ay syempre yung VU na nag-a-act dito. And then, divide this by the area of the shaded portion. So, saan yung area shaded? Kung saan nag-a-apply na lang yung QU na nag-cause ng one-way shear. Okay? So, ito lang yung matatanggal. Yung B times X. Yun yung area shaded natin. Okay. And then, para okay yung design natin, okay, we have to make sure that the allowable VU is always greater or equal to the VU actual. Okay? Again, sabi natin, hindi na tayo pwedeng lumagpas sa allowable. Okay? Kaya naman, hanggang equal lang dapat sila. Or, better yet, lagi dapat mas malaki yung allowable kaysa sa actual. Okay? So, ito yung ating one-way or the wide beam shear stress. Okay? So, yan lang po, no? Sa isang location lang yung matatanggal dito, essentially. Okay? And then next, ano naman yung wide beam shear stress? Okay? So, kung meron kang shear force, dapat meron din tayong shear stress. And then, dahil ito ay wide beam, tawagin natin tong wide beam shear stress. Okay? So, again, ang stress natin for shear ay tau. Tapos, lagyan lang natin ng subscript na WB for wide beam. Okay? So, again, stress is equal to force divided by area. Force natin ay VC divided by area critical. Okay, so saan ba nangyayari yung kiskisan dito? Alright? So dahil ito yung nasira na portion natin, ito yung critical section natin, dito nangyayari yung kiskisan sa may side na to. Okay? So dyan merong VC. Okay? So again, VC, ito, and then divide mo lang area critical kung nasaan yung kiskisan. Ano yung dimension ng critical natin? That is simply the width B times effective depth. So, hindi siya total depth, no? Hanggang effective depth lang tayo. Okay? Or simply, the tau wide beam or the shear wide beam is equal to VC divided by BD. Okay? Ito na yung ating wide beam shear stress. Okay? VC divided by BD. Okay, and then next, meron din tayong allowable wide beam stress. Of course, no? Kung meron kang allowable shear force, dapat meron din tayong allowable stress din dito. So, ang formula natin for allowable is simply 1/6 lambda square root F prime C. So, familiar, no? Okay? Galing lang siya dito sa may VC natin. Again, VC, yung force, that is 1/6 lambda square root F prime C BD. Okay? Kung yung VC i-divide mo ng BD, magiging tau wide beam na siya. Okay? VC is force, divide this by the area BD, magiging stress na siya. So, kung tinanggal natin yung BD or kung i-divide natin to ng BD, magka-cancel yung BD na, no? VC divided by BD, cancel yung BD, may iwan na lang ay yung 1/6 lambda square root F prime C. Or ang shortcut na lang natin dito, tanggalin mo lang yung area na BD. Kung yung critical area, magiging stress na siya. And then dahil ito ay galing sa allowable shear force, yung makukuha din natin na stress ay allowable din. Okay? Tanggalin mo lang yung area. Yun lang yung technique dito, na? Okay, so kung meron tayong allowable wide beam stress, of course, meron din tayong critical or critical wide beam stress, na? Okay, so again, recall natin na yung VU natin ay equal sa phi VC. Okay, again, VU is equal to phi VC. Okay, dahil Vn is equal to Vc. Okay, so hiramin lang natin yung formula na na-derive natin dito. Yung wide beam stress dito ay Vc over Bd. Equate lang natin yung Vc na Vu para maging critical, na? Ayan. Pwede mong sabihin ang critical wide beam ay simply Vu over phi BD. Okay, so dito lang yan galing. Again, substitute Vc equal to Vu over phi. So ito na yung formula niya. V over phi is the Vc divided by Bd. Okay? So, ito yung critical, then allowable. So, for allowable, tanggalin mo lang yung area. Yun na yun. Sa critical naman, equate mo lang yung Vc sa Vu over phi. Okay, next we have the two-way or the punching stress naman. Okay? So, for two-way shear, the critical section shall be located so that the perimeter B sub 0 is a minimum but not to be closer than D over 2, A and B. So, merong conditions dito, A and B. Ayan. So, ito yung mga conditions natin. The edges, corner, columns, concentrated loads, reaction areas, changes in the slab or footing. Ayan, kahit saan na yan, no? Basta masukatin na lang natin D/2 doon sa location ng MU. Yun na yun essentially, no? Okay, so balikan natin tong figure natin dito. Okay, so again, meron tayong PU. Dahil sa PU na yan, nag-cause siya ng QU. And then, ang bago dito ay yung D natin, yung effective depth natin. So, kanina, for one-way shear, ang effective depth natin ay measured from the top to the center of the top bar. Okay, dahil ang topic na natin dito ay yung punching shear, ang ating effective depth dito ay from the top hanggang dun sa average nung dalawang bakal natin, or simply dun sa pinaggitnaan nung dalawa. Okay, so hindi siya halata dito, no? Pero dun po talaga yon sa may gitna nung dalawa. Okay, so sabi dito, ang ating critical for two-way shear ay measured D/2 distance from the face of all the columns. Okay, so essentially, kanina, D-distance yung ating location ng one-way. Dito naman, dahil two-way, divided by 2 pa, no? So, ito po yan. Okay? So, measured ka ulit dito from the face of the column, D/2, no? Or, kung may base plate ulit tayo, hanapin mo, i-locate mo muna nasaan yung MU, tapos doon ka mag-start or doon ka magsukat ng D/2 distance. Okay? Ganun po yung technique. Okay. So, ayan po yung sa location. Ayan, mabubutas daw itong ating two-way, no? Or atong pundasyon natin, mabubutas daw siya. Okay, essentially, no? So, kunyari, ito yung top view natin. Okay, and then, isukatin natin yung D/2 distances na yan. So, dito sa left and right, tapos top and bottom, and then, ito daw yung masisira. Okay? So, itong hidden line natin dito, ibig sabihin nito, ito daw yung magiging portion nitong footing natin na mabubutas because of the two-way or the punching shear. Ayan, punching, parang sinuntok, no? Matatanggal daw ito. Itong part na to matatanggal. Maghihiwalay silang dalawa. Okay? So, tawagin natin tong dimension X, then dimension Y. Okay? Kung square ito, X is equal to Y. Automatic, no? So, sabi dito, ano ba yung B sub O dito? It is the perimeter of the critical section. Since ito yung masisira, okay, na portion ng ating pundasyon, ano daw yung magiging perimeter nito? So, ang perimeter natin is simply 2x plus y. Okay, dalawang x, top and bottom. Okay, then dalawang y, left and right. So, yun yung B sub O, perimeter of the critical section. Okay? So, kanina, meron tayong allowable shear for one-way. Of course, meron din tayo for two-way. For two-way naman, meron tayong tatlong formula. And we choose the least among the three. Okay? So, it could be na ang VC natin ay 1/3 lambda square root F prime C BOD. Ayan. So, itong BO dito, this is the perimeter and then times effective depth. Okay? So, yung surface area yan essentially, no? Then, meron din tayo ditong 1/6 times 1 plus 2 over beta lambda square root F prime C BOD. Okay, yung beta dito is similar dun sa kanina, dun sa gamma S. Ang B is, or beta is long divided by short. Pero this time, hindi na yung foundation ang pinag-uusapan natin. Instead, yung column. The long side of the column divided by the short side. So, kung square yung ating column, ang beta natin is simply equal to 1. Okay, and then the last formula is 1/12 2 plus ASD over BO times lambda square root F prime C BOD. Ayan na. So, ito yung mga allowable shear forces natin for two-way shear. And then, we simply choose the least among the three. Okay? And, by the way, no, madalas, no, hindi naman sa lahat ng cases, pero madalas, si VC number 1, itong unang formula, ang madalas na nag-govern. Okay? So, ayan. And by the way, yung AS natin dito sa third formula, ano daw itong ibig sabihin nito? Ang AS ay merong tatlong value. Ang AS ay 40 kung ang column natin ay nasa loob. Okay? Nasa loob po, no? Ibig sabihin hindi niya natatouch yung mga gilid-gilid and then yung corners. Kahit saan nasa loob, kahit hindi na center, basta nasa loob, ang ASI 40. Then 30 naman kapag nasa edge. Okay? Nasa gilid-gilid pero not touching the corners. Okay? I 30. And then, the last one is AS is 20 naman kapag automatic na nasa corner. So, 4 lang yung location niya, no? Yan. 4 lang naman yung corner natin for square. So, dito, 20 yung value. Alright, so yan na yung magiging formula natin. Allowable shear force natin. We choose the least among the 3. Okay, so ito again yung ating nasira na section, no? Ito yung critical section natin. So for example, ito yung kanyang 3D or isometric view. Ayan, nasira na siya, no? Nabutas. Natanggal yung bandang pedestal na part. Okay, and then meron pa rin tayong, of course, ultimate shear na nangyayari sa ilalim ng ating pundasyon, no? Okay, so yung QU natin, that is still PU divided by the area of the footing. Okay, and then yung VU natin this time, no? Itong QU na to, nagkakos yan ng VU dito sa center ng ating pundasyon. Okay? So, yung pressure na yan, applied naman yan all throughout the side dahil square naman ito. So, essentially, yung VU natin ay nasa gitna nung lahat ng to, nung pressure. So, yan dyan siya mag-a-act, no? Okay, and then again, gaya lang din kanina, meron din tayo ditong allowable VU based on the section ulit. So, kung ano yung nag-govern na VC dun sa tatlo, yung least among the 3, i-multiply lang natin yan ng 0.75 and then yun na yung VU natin na allowable for two-way shear. Okay, and then yung actual naman, that is simply the QU, okay, yung nangyayari dito sa ilalim ng ating lupa times the area shaded. Now, this time, ano na yung area shaded natin? So, yung area shaded dito ay syempre, ito na lang. No? Kanina, yung isang portion lang dahil one way, this time, ayan, square na siya, no? 4 na corner na. Okay? Yan yung area shaded natin for the two-way shear. Okay, and then again, for good design, ganun lang din naman. The allowable must always be greater than or equal to the actual. Okay? Then next, the punching shear stress. So, kung meron tayo kaninang wide beam stress, meron din tayong punching stress. Okay, and then yung subscript na natin dito na gagamitin natin ay PU, punching, no? So, yung shear PU natin is equal to the VC divided by the area critical. So, ano yung VC natin dito? Ano yung area critical natin? So, yung VC, yun yung tatlo, yung least among the 3. Then, yung area critical natin dito ay kung saan nangyayari yung kiskisan na yan. Okay? So, dito po sa mga sides natin dito sa loob. Okay? Dahil ito yung natanggal, okay? Nandito yung mga kiskisan na force natin. So, yan yung area critical natin. Ayan, no? So, sa lahat ng corners, may mga stress tayo dyan or forces. Nakikiskis po lahat ng corner na yan. Therefore, ang ating formula for the punching shear stress is VC divided by BO times D. Ano yung BO? That is the perimeter times mo lang ng effective depth para makuha mo yung surface area nung kiskisan. Okay? Ayan. So, perimeter times the effective depth, no? Surface area po ito. Okay, and then next, meron din tayong mga allowable punching stresses. Okay. So, again, yung technique natin kanina, no? Gaya dun sa wide beam, tanggalin lang natin yung mga area. So, ano yung area dito? Yun yung BOD. Tanggalin mo lang yung mga BOD dun sa formula natin kanina na 3. And then, ito na yung mga allowable punching stresses natin. Okay? So, again, whichever is the less or the least among the 3. No? Okay, and then dahil meron kang allowable, meron din tayong critical. Okay, so again, paano yung critical? Equate lang natin si VC sa VU over phi. Hiramin mo lang yung formula na to ulit. Equate mo lang VU over phi dito. Okay, and then ito na ay critical punching shear. So, ito yung mga formulas natin. Okay? And then next, yung step sa pag-calculate ng kahit anong problem, isolated footing na axial force lang muna. Okay? So, ito yung steps natin. First step is to calculate the value of QE. Okay? Yung effective or net soil bearing natin. Pag nakuha mo yung value ng QE, pwede mo nang isolve yung dimension ng ating footing. Okay? By the way, for dimension, okay, ang kailangan natin gamitin na loads ay mga service or unfactored loads. Next step, calculate the value of QU. So yung QU dito, okay, factored na ito. Dapat yung mga loads natin ay factored na. So dapat meron ng 1.2 dead plus 1.6 live divided by the area of the footing. Yung area ng footing ay masosolve natin dito sa step number 1. Okay? So for ultimate pressure, use factored loads. Third step, calculate the VU. Okay, then check the adequacy of the section. So dapat for wide beam and punching, yung allowable stress natin ay equal or greater than the VU actual. Okay? So yun yung condition para adequate yung ating section. Okay? Oops. Since nandito ka na rin naman sa part ng video ito, maaaring pa-like, share, and subscribe ka na rin sa ating channel. Thank you. Then next, we calculate the MU or the ultimate moment. So pag na-solve na natin yung ultimate moment, pwede na natin actually ma-solve din, no, yung required rebars. Okay? Okay, footings are always singly reinforced and tension controlled. So kapag ito yung condition natin para sa ating footing, mabilis lang yung step natin sa pag-calculate ng number of rebars. Okay? So we have here step number 1. Equate lang natin yung MU sa phi MN. So ito naman talaga yung pinaka-basic, no? Okay, pero yung phi natin dito, hindi na tayo mag-a-assume ng kanyang value. Alam na natin na ang value nito ay 0.9 dapat. Bakit? Kasi nga po ito ay tension controlled already. Okay? So yung naka-highlight dito na yellow, yun po yung isosolve natin dito sa step number 1. Okay? So yung MU nakuha na natin dito, tapos phi ay given na rin dapat na 0.9, hindi yan assumed. Tapos yung MN pwede na nating isolve. Step number 2, equate natin yung MN sa 0.85 F prime C AB times quantity D minus A over 2. Isang MN lang yung isosolve natin dito kasi singly lang ito. So yung MN na to is actually based doon sa compressive force na nagmo-moment doon sa ating centroid ng ating tension rebars, no? So kung doble ito, meron pang additional dapat ito, moment din caused by the top bar, okay, top reinforcement natin or yung compression force natin. Meron pa dapat ditong additional. Pero again, singly lang ito kaya ito yung formula na gagamitin natin. Now again, yung naka-highlight dito, ito yung isosolve natin dito. So yung MN nakuha na natin sa step 1, then equate lang natin dito, substitute natin. Yung A naman na dito, yung next na unknown. Okay, yung B, effective depth, F prime C, given naman yan. Then after calculating the value of A, equate lang natin yung compressive force sa tensile force. Okay, so yung compressive force natin, again, that is 0.85 F prime C AB. And then equate lang natin ito sa tensile force na AS FY. Okay, so again, yung nasolve natin na A dito, ibalik lang natin dito sa formula natin dito. Then next naman na i-calculate natin ay yung area ng steel. Pagka-calculate natin ng area ng steel, pwede na natin tong i-divide sa diameter ng main bar, okay, or yung rebar na tinatanong. Tapos doon natin malalaman na kung ano yung bilang ng bakal. Alright? So ito lang yung magic 4 natin na steps, no, sa isolated or spread footing. Okay, so sa next video naman, mag-solve naman tayo ng mga problems using these steps.